Good morning. Again, this is another great morning that the Lord has given us, and we want to rejoice and be glad in it. Surely it has taken the heart of God. Yesterday, we had a powerful first session on the Entrepreneurship Summit. And thank you so much for those who are joining us, both on YouTube and also on Facebook, because we want to trust that iron sharpens iron. The little knowledge you have, the little knowledge I have. So when we add it together, we become better and better every day. So yesterday, we had a chance to look at ideally what is mentorship. And we looked at some of the trends that have come along in the entrepreneurship realm. So we looked at what is how to start a business. And we said that idea that you have, just start it. And sometimes you may be having so many ideas, let's say about 30 of them. So you scale them down to about 5. And someone said, you look at that particular idea, one idea that you can do for free, that you can be able to offer your service pro bono. And that is the idea you pick and you run with it. If you remember the Professor Wangari Maathai, Professor Wangari Maathai was trained as a veterinary doctor. That was her career. But she took up planting of trees, which was like an area of interest that she was willing to do for nothing. And that is what propelled Professor Wangari Maathai to become a Nobel laureate and to be known globally, not because he was a veterinary doctor or he had done veterinary medicine. That particular, what you call now is now social entrepreneurship, because she planted trees. And of course, trees is also a profitable business to a large extent. So that is the idea you start with. Again, we said you may not require a lot of capital when you begin. What you require is social capital. And we give many examples. When people approach, for example, institutions of lending, and somebody knows somebody somewhere, with a little that you can be able to put together, you go in and you get your first little money. Maybe you need a gig to be sponsored by a sponsor. You speak around to a couple of people who know sponsors, and that event gets some support. So you may not require a lot of that large capital when you start. What most here you require is social capital. We also spoke about the energy capital that you require to be healthy, because when you are unhealthy, then you are not able to move. And at the end of this particular webinar, we'll have a chance to look at how do you increase your health, because as an entrepreneur, you require health. As an entrepreneur, you require to be strong. And as an entrepreneur, you require to have the capacity to move. Then we also spoke about relationship capital. Relationship capital is the idea that you have networks. You have people you can depend on. You have people you can call upon. You have a network, because somebody said your network is your net worth. And finally, we spoke about leadership capital, that you require some inspirational leaders. When an entrepreneur, when you see a business that is succeeding, the Luo community in our Kenyan country normally say the fish rots from the head. So when you have that inspirational leader, he inspires, he ensures that there is, people are inspired, people are geared to go. That has a way that it helps in terms of running, starting a business. Of course, we say that some of the lessons that we have learned in business is that you require a mentor. And yesterday we had a chance of being spoken to by a chair of one of the leading distribution companies in Kenya. They are called Superfine Distributors. And he shared his journey. And he said he has had mentors. He has also mentored. So you do require a mentor. Mentorship rocks. Then, of course, you need to do research around your business area so that you understand what is it that you want to start. You also require to listen to your gut instinct. We normally say we have 5 common senses. We have the sense of touch, the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, the sense of sight, and the sense of taste. But over and above those, for you to succeed in any business, you require what you call the sixth sense. I remember one of my mentors sharing how he used to buy land and he was conned Monday. He didn't see that coming because he was invited in a very good office. He found everything working, and then he gave his money. It was all his personal savings. Unfortunately, when he came back the day they had agreed to come and sign off the papers and get the title deed, he didn't find anybody. He found a different business in that office, and nobody had a clue of who those people are. And he confessed that Kenya is very big. He has never met those individuals eye to eye. I also had a chance, one time I was selling some products in Nairobi, specifically in Eastleigh, and I've shared this in other forums. And I delivered some stock on a Friday to one of my wholesalers. And because they did not have the money and their people had trusted, I have known for over 5 years, we agreed I come and collect the money the following week. I think it was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And then I drive in, I park, and I look at where I'd left the shop. And when I walk in, I find a restaurant business. I find people enjoying mugs and mugs of tea and mandazis and bread. And I walked out again and I looked at the building. I noted I had not been lost. So I walked in again now, more confidently. And I looked around, I looked at the counter, and there was my client smiling at me because he had seen me. Because you know, the way you are clad, you are different from the people and the customers. And I walked to the counter and I told him, you shocked me. I thought the business had closed, because there was a tendency that sometimes businesses would close and then you come and you find the person has completely gone with your money. Then he told me, we own this particular building, and upstairs, because there were about 5 floors, we have rental, we normally have people boarding, accommodation. And these people have been asking us for a restaurant instead of walking out. Sometimes it's very insecure at night. Why don't they just walk in and have a meal? And again, the wholesale was not doing very well. And he opened the counter, and there was my money, cash. It was about 32,000. What I'm trying to say is that I had not done my due diligence. I had not been asking questions, because you need to know who owns this building, who are the neighbors, where has this person. I had not done my due. I had relaxed a bit. We also agreed that another lesson you learn in business is to trust. Trust, but confirm yourself. And if you've been following the story of one professor, the late Professor Mangoha, we have been told that on many occasions, this particular guy, he would give you a job, but then he would also come and he would check out. It doesn't mean that you become a micromanager, but trust and yet confirm what you have been told. Again, love everything, love all people, trust a small inner circle, what you call your board. And even if you are running, I remember one friend of mine, when he started entrepreneurship early in the 90s, before even we came, we were still in corporate. And I remember he came one day and told me, Joe, I'm no longer going to look for a job. I'm tired. That time we had not even gotten some permanent jobs. We used to get contracts. You get a 3-month contract in one of the multinational companies, which I don't want to mention here, because it gave us an opportunity also to discover ourselves and be able to sharpen our skills on marketing and selling, because they had very training programs. But you would work for 3 months. Because of labor laws, you are told to go off away for about maybe 2 months. Then we are recalled back for another 3 months. And we did that like for 3 sessions. A year went. My friend, and as we were taking a cup of tea somewhere in Nairobi, he told me, Joe, I'm tired of this kind of employment. I'm going to go into business. And I'm going to start on my own. And he struggled. I remember that gentleman struggled. He knows himself. He struggled. He started He started selling stationery. That time it was stationery. He started selling computer parts. The wave that was able to propel my friend to some business success was the mobile telephony. When mobile phones started now getting into the market, that is the SIM cards, especially the SIM cards. Anything can make money for you. SIM cards and airtime. I remember I used to find a shop, used to have a shop somewhere in CBD, Biashara Street there. He started down River Road, but because as money started flowing, he scaled up and came towards CBD, which was very active. What am I trying to speak about? Even if you are starting and you are a small business entrepreneur, you require a small inner circle of people, 2 to 3 people, even if you can call them a board in quotes. Even if you don't pay them, you can call them a board in quotes, and these are the people you reach out to. These are the people you call and say, and I remember he used to consult, somehow with me. When he finds he has gone into some difficulties, he would consult. He is not paying me anything, but when he meets and buys me a cup of coffee, then it's an opportunity for him to consult. So trust but confirm, and then offend none. Never offend anybody. Now, of course, there's something you call the positive mental attitude. Always have a positive mental attitude. Whatever is happening around the environment, let it never affect you. Have a positive mental attitude. So we spoke about that. We also spoke that for you to run a successful entrepreneur company, you require, number one, servant leadership, somebody who is willing to give all yourself. Sometimes when you are beginning, there's nothing, resources are not enough. Financial resources are not enough. Not many people trust you because they don't know your brand. So you require to have servant leadership and inspirational leadership. You also require to have a very clear vision. One of the person who was sharing in yesterday's first day, who has been an investor, he said, you require to know, he called it the roadmap, a clear vision. Where are you going? You also require to learn to delegate. Delegate. Because you cannot, especially when you start growing. I know sometimes when I do gigs, here I have in mind, for example, I have like 3 days training. And I can't be in every day. You'll also bore your participants or your client. So you ensure that first day, maybe you come and do the introduction, or somebody else does the introduction who is conversant in the area. You come and do a session or 2 sessions. The following day, you have a different person. So you, in a form of way, it's a form of delegation. Observe regulations and pay tax. We agreed that. Remember, register the business, go to the register of companies, have the business registered, maybe the business name or the company. Also ensure that you pay tax. Very, very important. And finally, love your customers. Customers are the ones who make you grow. From my experience, I have noted customers talk among themselves and word of mouth referral. You do a good business with this customer, you get referred to the next customer, that customer refers you to the next customer. That is what has been my experience this particular farm. So we also spoke a bit about mentorship. We said it is the influence or guidance of direction. A mentor is a person who is able to teach you, somebody who is able to guide you. They have walked that path. They have been there. They know. But of course, there's something you call reverse mentoring. You can be mentored by a young person who is just new in the business. They can be able to mentor you. So, but mentorship is normally very important. And we say that the dynamics of mentorship is that you create a relationship. In business, you must initiate the initial contact. Then once you initiate the initial contact, you must also be willing to, the mentor must be willing to share himself or his time with you. And you have very different types of mentors. Here we are speaking about entrepreneurship. You could have a spiritual mentor. You could have, for your physical, gym, you could have an instructor who is mentoring you and coaching you in that area. You could have Maybe, for example, you are investing into education, so you have a mentor, somebody who mentors you around your education. It could be a supervisor, it could be maybe a college don. You're going through your, but specifically because you are speaking about entrepreneurship, then you require a mentor. You require to, and there are people who are willing to share themselves with you. You also require to need to understand this mentor and what are the deliverables. What do you need from him? I have one mentor, we have an agreement. We always meet every quarter. Every quarter we have a meeting, 1 hour. And within 1 hour, he packs a lot. It is 7 to 8, done completely. Be there at 7, he's already in his office. By 8 o'clock, we are done. I have gotten my lessons. I've shared what kind of challenges I'm going through. And then I know he also has a lot of books. I will support him with his books. I'll maybe buy 2, 3, 1 book. And then because I have bought previously, I buy to go and give to my friends, because I also want to appreciate the time he has given me. The other mentor, we just call wherever he is and book an appointment. I call in, we do a Zoom, we do maybe even WhatsApp, calling WhatsApp, and he gives between 5 and 10 minutes. I remember it's only the first time he gave me 15 minutes. And I learned within those particular 15 minutes, you are picking lessons of, life, and him, both of them are very rounded. They actually cut across. You'll find they're giving you mentorship in entrepreneurship, they're giving you mentorship in family, they're giving you mentorship spiritually, they're giving you mentorship in terms of even taking care of your physical self. So I find them very rich, very rich. And they have been CEOs. Some of them are still CEOs and they own their own companies. So they are people who have exposure. And they are also very big givers. They give back. Because that's another area you may require mentorship. You are told the heart that giveth receives. So it's good. Of course, we say qualities of mentors, of course, they must be people who demonstrate objectivity. There are people who are fair with you. There are people who are very inquisitive, because they'll ask you questions and be willing. For me, my experience with these 2 particular mentors, I have bared my heart. You go in and it's like you are going for, the Catholic have this particular thing they call, or this particular religious exercise which they do, which is very good. They call it confession. So when you go to your mentor, especially for business, you're required to come in for confession. You are struggling somewhere financially. You have a loan you have taken and you are unable to pay. You owe people money and they are after you. You share this, because when you share yourself out, then this particular mentor is able to help you. So, of course, one of the sponsors who we are very gracious and who has come through for us for this particular summit is Superfine Distributors. Thank you so much, Paul and your team. These are people who are in stationery. They have been known to be famous, and he is doing stationery of all kinds. When you're talking about pens, you're talking about rulers, like especially for back to school. We are speaking about rubbers. You are speaking about anything stationary. He is in it. They have over 10 years of experience. They have very highly trained professionals, an experienced team. They have the relevant infrastructure to meet your customer expectation in terms of quality, in terms of variety, availability, reliability, and speed. And they value you. Their core values are superior customer service, the mutual respect, passion, fairness, teamwork, speed, and acceptability. So Superfine Distributors were established in 2012. They specialize in school and office stationery and the items which they distribute across the region. So if you're looking out for items, you are a principal somewhere, high school, and you want stationery, reach out to Superfine Distributors and they will not let you down. Thank you so much, Paul, and your team for coming through as one of the sponsors in this particular summit. And thank you even for those ones who are logged online. We are with you. We can see you on Facebook. I can see we have a good number. Thank you. Keep up. Then I can see you're also having online YouTube. Keep up. We spoke about the mentorship cycle. where first of all, you have to identify a mentor. Identify a mentor, then of course, engage that particular mentor, and then get empowered. So when you identify a mentor is somebody who is willing to give their time. So we identify the mentor, you get engaged by the mentor, and you also get empowered. Mentors are powerful. They have walked the journey you want to journey. They have been there. They have made the mistakes. You do not want to repeat those mistakes. So they will help you out and they will be able to make you. There are some pillars of mentoring. When you are getting into a mentoring, especially for business and entrepreneurs, there are 4 key pillars of mentoring. The first one is trust. Be willing to bear your heart out. These are people who are willing also to, they trust you and you trust them. You know they are not going to use the information you are giving. Sometimes in business, there is a lot of rivalry. We call it the red ocean strategy. There is a lot of rivalry. So you need somebody who can trust you. You require respect. In a mentoring situation, you require respect. There is expectations that you have set, some deliverables, another pillar, these expectations. And of course, there is communication. Communication. You are communicating verbally, you are communicating verbally, you are communicating even physically, you are talking one-to-one to each other. Very, very important. And we said that pillars of mentorship. Then finally, of course, we spoke about the mentoring roles. Yeah, the coach. The mentor must be somebody who coaches you. They are also a role model. They have done something that you would wish to do yourself. So, there are somewhere you can be able to scale. They must sometimes be willing to sponsor you. They can sponsor you. Some of my mentors have sponsored me to events. They have told me, I have this particular event, and I have also sponsored. I have this particular event where I'm a member. I am not able to attend. We have maybe a dinner today. Take this particular card, go with it. I have also done that. There are events where I'm invited, I'm unable to go, but because I know somebody who is hungry, especially in the marketing field, I tell them, take this particular dinner card, you just go and present in the door, and they go in and find massive networking. Because we've said again, your network is your net worth. A mentor, another role of a mentor is a listener, somebody who is able to listen, and of course, who is an advisor. There are some tips about mentoring, especially for entrepreneurs. Before you start, you must agree. Are we going to be doing face-to-face? Is it going to be on telephone? I know some of the people who are on this webinar, we do mentorship. And what happens is that we do it on Zoom. You must agree whether it is going to be, how often it is going to be, that relationship. Mentoring is about sharing your skills with somebody. Mentorship in business, you must be somebody compassionate, somebody who is inquisitive, somebody positive, authentic, approachable, somebody who is an encourager and willing to encourage, and of course, kind. So that is about mentorship, and I know we to a large extent we spoke about it. We spoke about the qualities of a good entrepreneur. Allow me, before we invite in the next speaker in the next 10 minutes or so, we spoke about the challenges when you are running a business. One of them is that you find you are not getting the right people. Even if you are doing a gig and you want, for example, let's say you are doing a gig of, you are training some people, or let's say you have opened a kiosk. Sometimes you want to run and get supplies. You may want to leave somebody there for 1 hour. You may take somebody on a daily basis. Getting that kind of a person who is willing to be delegated to, that is one of the key things. That was one of the challenges of running businesses, the right person. The other issue is about a relationship. You find, in business, you require to build relationships. You require to build a relationship with your distributor who is selling to you if you are a retailer. You require to build this with the suppliers. And sometimes relationships are not easy to build. People don't trust very well. People don't trust very easily. So that becomes a challenge for a young budding entrepreneur. The other challenge of a young budding entrepreneur is earning customer trust. Some of the people here I can see, they are in big businesses where they have run business. You know, customer trust is very key because customers talk among themselves. And when you do a good service, that word of mouth, it's very, very powerful. In fact, we call it woman, 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 word of mouth, active networking, especially if you have customers who are lady. You are running a salon somewhere there. You are running, let's say, a business involving a lot of ladies. You require to build that network, that trust with those, because ladies can build your business. I know a guy we have been using for our birthday cakes for our children. We have used that man since our firstborn was 2 years old. That young man now is heading 18. Of course, we finished at one point giving birthday. We told him until he is 18, we can do birthday. But we have other children who we have, and we have had one supply of birthday cakes for the last, and we have also referred him to other people. I have another one who is very interesting. His name is, you may not know the other name, even if I tell you one name. His name is Jogona. Jogona is a butcher, not even a butcher. Jogona, when I knew him, he used to have, and that's what I say, the power of entrepreneurship. When I knew Jogona, we are talking about maybe around 2011 or thereabout. Jogona used to have a bicycle. Alikuwa like a bicycle. And those in the boda guy, but the bicycle guy. So he used to do boda with the bicycle. But Jogona along the way, he learned how kuchinja. He became a butcher of some kind. He knows how to do anachinja buzi. This guy is when you anachinja buzi, he slaughters a goat for you. When you have a function, he'll come to the house. He has his own knives. He'll slaughter a goat for you. Then he'll prepare it without anybody's help. He'll create some fire, or if you have a burner, that would be okay. But if you don't have a burner, he'll use kuni firewood, create a fire for you. Choma, does a very good choma, what you call barbecue, very good barbecue, Jogona. So I invited him. Anytime we have a function, maybe sometimes even where we go to church and we are eating some buzis with the men, I invite Jogona. Jogona comes and slaughters. We have a neighborhood buzi. We invite Jogona. We have done that. Jogona has scaled away now from just a cycle. Now he has a motorbike. He's a boda guy of motorbike. What I'm trying to say is we have referred him. I have taken Jogona about maybe 60 kilometers from Nairobi to another function where he goes, slaughters. I've taken Jogona. We have moved, and he has also been referred through our network. We have referred him to others. So earn customer trust from a very small level. And now Jogona, of course, I'm sure he'll be on the next motorbike that way. The other challenge that you find people who run businesses having is the issue of cash flow. People are not able to manage cash flow. There's a challenge because money is what makes people run. And I don't know whether Mokundi, you have joined us. Bernard Mokundi, are you on board? Once he is on board, he's going to alert me because I had seen him on board. So ideally, what you are saying is that there is an issue of cash flow. You have a challenge because I'm told when you are running a business. I remember listening to a lady called the owner of Melvin Tea. Her name is Flora Mutahi. She had been invited by a group called Centonomy to speak to them. And she was saying that when she started working for Centonomy, she used to start packing tea. She used to pack, and she still packs tea. Melvin Tea is a big company today. But she never used to earn a salary. She used to wait for money. When she finds money, she picks it, she goes and uses it. Until one day he noted that he requires to be on the payroll, so that she knows my salary is 100,000 shillings. But then maybe at the end of the year, as a director, I have my bonuses and everything, and my director fees, but I have a salary. Ensure when you start scaling up as a business, put yourself on a salary. Also, another challenge you find when you are running a business, especially an entrepreneur, is to maintain a culture of performance. When you start alone, you are able to put some standards, some KPIs. But as you go along, even when I do a training, or let's say you are doing a team building somewhere, I find when you engage some people, I remember one team building I was doing in one of the high schools in Kenya, one of the leading high schools. And that's why I'm saying the power of networks. I'm invited to train an aviation company in Machakos. So I'm there for 2 days. I was training them somewhere on marketing communication in a hotel called Gelani in Machakos town. So I trained for 2 days. On the second day, I find who walks in. It is the CEO of that particular company. Who is the CEO? He was he was actually my university lecturer for a PhD program. So he walks in, he's a CEO. I didn't know. I was so surprised. So now he is my student. So we finish, we break for tea, and then of course we are doing some talking over tea and snacks. And he told me, I heard you mention that you do team building. Yes, I said I do. Said, I have this school where I am a member of the board. And we have a session of board in April, in the next 1 month or two. It was around March. And we are looking for somebody to come and take us. We have been meeting often, but we feel we require some team building. That's how I got my gig. And I was invited. They decided to do it in the compound of the school because we were meeting in the school, and in any case, the school had closed. So we went to the field. Now I engaged because there were about 15 of them. I noted I couldn't be able to handle them alone. So I required 2 more other marshals. So we agreed because they told me a meeting in the morning. You guys come at 2 o'clock. We take lunch together. We go out in the field. Then they thought they are just going to, dance, play. Of course, team building is beyond dancing and playing. And there I was. I'm waiting for my men. It's already 2 o'clock. I've already even eaten lunch with these people because I was there by 1. They had told me to be there by 1. My guys came at 3 o'clock. They have found, and they were the ones who were carrying the equipment. They found I had started because when my lecturer and the team saw how agitated things were running, they told me, let's just start us off. So what I'm trying to say is the culture of performance. When you have been delegated work, when you delegate work, that's a challenge you find in this particular market. Now, how do you go about then doing your entrepreneurship? There's what you call the virgin model. You create a useful product or service that people cannot do without. Simplify your message. Simplify. Make it kiss. Keep it simple and stupid. In fact, this gentleman, the owner of Apple, the late Steve Jobs, he gave a convocation speech at one of the universities, Stanford University, which he never finished. He dropped out in second year. But they invited him in one of the graduation ceremonies, and he was the speaker, the main speaker. And he gave a memorable, if you Google online, Steve Jobs Stanford convocation speech. As he came to the end of that speech, and he was sick that time, he had been diagnosed with some liver problem. So you could tell he was sickly, though he lived another 4 or 5 years. But he said, as he finished that particular talk, he said, always remain stupid. If you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, stay stupid, be willing to learn, because anybody can teach you. The other important thing as an entrepreneur, you need to build a personal brand. You as an individual, you as Faith, you as Celine, you as Faith, you as Peterson, you as Mudhuri, you as Educated Enterprise. You require a personal brand, because when push comes to shove, when things are a little bit tight, that is a moment where your personality comes out. So when money is not enough, when you have been given a business and you have messed up, always ensure that you are personal brand. So find your tone, know your brand, do things. If you look at someone like Virgin Atlantic, Branson, a guy who does crazy stunts. The reason why he does those crazy stunts, it's a way of personal branding. I want to ask, wherever you are, even if you are muted and we cannot see you, I want you to raise your hands like this, Peterson. Can I see your hands up, Peterson? Yeah, Faith, I'm sure you can see. Do your hands like this. Turn them around quickly. Even if you are seated, Celine, if you are driving, you can shake your head. You can shake your head, Celine. Shake your head. Then you hit your hand so hard. Again. Let's get some energy, some more energy, some more energy, some more energy, some more energy. Again. Good. Thank you so much. So we are saying you require to build, market your personal brand. Richard Branson is a brand. He creates waves in terms of doing those crazy stunts. And then, of course, when you do your personal branding, look at even Professor McGowan. That was a brand. Personal, he doesn't care from the get-go. Willie Mutunga, who was, and I'm saying this because it's a personal brand, who was our first president of the judiciary with the new constitution. When he went in for the interview at Bunge, and he had a stand in his ear, and he was told he must remove that particular stand to be given a job. He said, you guys keep your job. If I'm going to remove this, I'm here because of the brain work. And he was given a job. And the guy performed. He did some exemplary things so sometimes that personality, the individual in you, the Faith in you, the Celine in you, the Utikas in you, that personality, karaoke in yourself, let it come out and build it consistently. And of course, for you to succeed according to the Virgin model, for you to succeed as an entrepreneur, you need to ensure you enjoy what you do. And we agreed this is something you are willing to do for free. You are willing to do for free. I look like I have some network issues. In case you find I'm dropping out, kindly, I'll come back quickly, but I hope we can be able to move on. So what are some of the secrets of retaining employees, especially even if you are doing a gig to start with? One, you honor your promise. What you promise, you keep. When you say you are going to do something, do it. When you say you are going to start something, I find it very interesting. An event, you are supposed to go to an event, and you have agreed the event is starting at 7, and you find people coming at 9. And these are the organizers. When you have said something as an entrepreneur, if you have a challenge, you can't pay your supplier on time, take a call, send them a message. I'm having some challenges, give me another 1 or 2 days. Honor your promise. The second thing, delegate. Thirdly, respect the employees. That house girl you have employed, that person you have employed in a business you are running, probably is a cyber cafe, you have 2 or 3. Maybe you are doing some online and you have engaged somebody who is doing some marketing for you, or they are doing some graphics for you, they are doing some materials for you. Respect them. Because when you respect your employees, they will give you 100%. I was listening to one of our mentors sharing recently, and they said they promised their employees if they reach a certain target, they are going to be taken to Dubai. If they reach another target, Mombasa for holiday. So they reached the second target. All of them were taken to Mombasa. All of them. Everybody from the driver, and I think he said they don't even call them drivers. I think they call them transport managers. Even from the people who clean, they are called sanitation managers. Everybody was in Mombasa. They closed for 3 days. Respect your employees, and of course, allow your team to own your vision. Even if it's that one employee you have, when they come on board, I allow them to own your vision. Allow them to understand who you are. Now, allow me to look at what you call the 7 power formula. When you are in entrepreneurship, you have what you call the 7 power formula. The 7 power formula involves the first P is P of choice. You require to have a P of choice. By this, we mean every day you make a choice. Every day there is a choice you are making. Today you chose to be in this webinar in the morning, and it is not in vain. There is a reason. There is a reason why you are on this particular webinar. So don't take it for granted. That is the first P, choice. Every day you choose. Even starting a business, you choose. Everybody else is telling you the economy is doing bad. In fact, the gentleman who shared with us yesterday, the chairman of Superfine Distributors and the chief of staff at Nyeri County, he told us, even when he was starting the business 15 years ago, people were saying the economy was bad. Even when our parents were doing what they were doing, the economy was bad. So even today, people will be saying, so there is never a good time. Remember the story of the person who went to ask a mentor, when is the right time to plant a tree? And he was told it is now. The other right time to plant a tree was yesterday. So